August 22, 1996. Welfare Overhaul. The Personal Responsibility and Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, signed into law by President Bill Clinton, marked a fundamental shift in United States social policy. This legislation, often referred to as welfare reform, replaced the Aid to Families with Dependent Children program with a new system known as Temporary Assistance for Needy Families. This act reflected a bipartisan effort between a Democratic president and a Republican-controlled Congress to reshape federal welfare programs that had been in place since the New Deal era. AFDC had been created in 1935 as part of the Social Security Act under President Franklin D. Roosevelt. Its primary purpose was to provide financial assistance to children in low-income households without a breadwinning parent, often due to widowhood. Over time, the program expanded and shifted, particularly during the 1960s War on Poverty. By the 1980s and early 1990s, critics from both political parties viewed AFDC as ineffective, arguing that it encouraged dependency on government aid and disincentivized employment. By the time Clinton took office in 1993, welfare reform had become a central political issue. During his 1992 presidential campaign, Clinton had promised to end welfare as we know it. He reiterated his commitment to reform through policies that promoted work and personal responsibility. After two previous vetoes of Republican welfare bills in 1995 and early 1996, Clinton signed a compromise bill on August 22, 1996. The resulting law was the culmination of years of debate, negotiation, and policy development. The 1996 law eliminated the entitlement nature of welfare assistance. Under TANF, recipients no longer had a guaranteed right to benefits. Instead, the federal government allocated block grants to states, giving them greater flexibility in administering welfare, but also placing responsibility on them to enforce work requirements and time limits. One of the most notable features of TANF was the imposition of a lifetime limit of 60 months of benefits for most families, along with a mandate that recipients engage in work activities within 2 years of receiving aid. States were required to ensure that a specific percentage of welfare recipients were participating in work activities, which included employment, job training, or community service. States that failed to meet federal work participation rates risked financial penalties. Additionally, the reform restricted benefits to certain immigrant populations and allowed states to deny assistance to individuals convicted of drug-related felonies. The passage of the Welfare Reform Act was met with mixed reactions. Supporters argued that it encouraged employment, reduced government dependency, and promoted individual accountability. Opponents contended that it threatened vulnerable populations, particularly single mothers and children, by limiting access to assistance and reducing the federal safety net. Following implementation, welfare caseloads dropped dramatically. Between 1996 and 2000, the number of individuals receiving cash assistance declined by more than 50%. Employment rates among single mothers rose during the same period, and child poverty rates fell modestly. However, analysts debated whether these changes were direct results of the law or influenced by broader economic trends, including the economic expansion of the late 1990s. Long-term evaluations of the reform have been mixed. While some families achieved greater economic independence, others struggled with low-wage employment, inconsistent job security, and limited access to childcare. The block grant structure resulted in variation among states, with some creating more supportive programs than others. Additionally, since the law's passage, the value of TANF funding has declined due to inflation, leading to reduced real spending on cash assistance and related services. The 1996 welfare reform law remains one of the most significant domestic policy shifts in late 20th century America. It redefined the federal government's role in supporting low-income families and established a new framework that continues to shape welfare policy debates today. While it achieved certain goals, including reducing caseloads and increasing work participation, it also sparked ongoing controversies about poverty, equity, and the balance between state and federal authority in social welfare. For enthusiasts of historical ephemera, visit history-collectors.com to find collectibles that might complement your collection. You can own a piece of history.